Hello, and I really hope you're still awake after this nice lunch. You had a coffee or something. So, embracing change from tester to quality coach. For a couple of years, my official title was cloud quality coach. And one of the troubles I had was to explain what the quality coach actually is. Quality is never defined well. Coaching is also kind of something fluffy. So I felt a bit embarrassed to say I'm a quality coach because the question was, what do you actually do? And my role had to do a lot with testing. I was a tester in my team. I was also doing the quality assurance in my team. So definitely there was some connection there with testing and quality assurance, but it was a bit more than that. I was doing more things than testing, more things than quality assurance. And when I started doing this job, this quality coaching job, what I found was that the role that I had as a quality coach was to help teams answer a question. So the question that I would like to help teams answer as a quality coach is what would happen if the quality assurance, the tester in your team suddenly left. So I guess many of you here work as testers or that quality person in your team. Do you think you would be able to deliver, your teams would be able to deliver software to production, features to customers without any problem if tomorrow you just left? Who here thinks, yeah, my team would do this? No problem. There you go, 2, 3. The rest, do you think there will be some disruptance in the way you delivered software? That's what I felt too. So as a quality coach, that was something, when I was working as a tester, that was something that I didn't realize. That when I left, my team would struggle to deliver to production. And I should point here, this is where I was coming from. So I was working, and that was 6 years ago already, in an SAP product, which was quite small. And we were a very independent team, even back then. So we were like 12 people, 1 web application, 2 mobile apps, 12 people doing development, testing, operations, sales, marketing. We were quite independent there. So we had this nice working environment. We were living happy, sunny days, delivering code to production, no problems. And what my role there was is, especially in the beginning, plenty of testing. But as we came together as a team and we worked together as a team, it was more about teaching others how to do the testing. So that was quite distributed in our team. And that gave me plenty of time to do some quality engineering tasks, if you like. So I would be more involved in the discussions about requirements. I had the time to look into the pipelines that we had. So I would do some quality engineering things. But nobody from my team was interested in those things. They didn't care. As long as the things were working fine, nobody cared what I did there. Besides quality engineering things, even though we were a small SAP product, we were still a product. So we had to comply with something we call product standards and the quality management system of SAP. And that was something that was not easy. You had to decipher these product standards so that they fit to your product. And my role was to bring these things to the team without any disruptance to the team. So if you would go to the developer and say, we have performance criteria 3, 5, 6, you had to find the right mixture of those things so that they just didn't throw you away. They said, no, go away. But this was part of my job, to bring these things and assure quality, if you like. And if people were not interested in my quality engineering things that I did, they were definitely not interested in those things. The only thing that they cared about was that the process works. And I saw it as part of my role to actually not bother them with these things. But of course, all things come to an end. And in my case, I left. I said bye-bye to my team because I was pregnant. So everybody knew that I would be away for more than a year. And even though we tried to find a replacement, we were not fast enough. So there was like a month that I had to hand over all of my tasks to the team. We failed miserably. I tried to write down as much as I could. We tried to practice what I wrote down, but in a month, it just didn't happen. And even though the team kept on producing good code, tested code, because this quality engineering and this quality management stuff were missing, they could not deliver. And it took them some time to adapt. So when I came back from maternity leave, there was this new department that happened to be in what was called the Cloud Quality Coaching Department. And because I had this experience of how hard it was to hand over all these quality tasks to my team, I thought, oh, okay, this quality coaching thing kind of makes sense. And even though there's no definitive definition, as I said in the beginning, I like this one from Anne-Marie Sarret, that a quality coach leads, supports, and rallies a team to collectively own and improve quality through facilitation, education, experimentation, and visualization. This kind of struck a chord. This is what I missed when I left. So I joined this new department, which the role that I had as a quality coach was to teach testers in other teams to also become quality coaches themselves. And how I tried to do this as a quality coach was to engage with people and have different stances in the relationship I had with them. Some of it was teaching, find new ways to do things. Some of it was experiences through mentoring, sharing what I did, what worked, what didn't work, to give people a chance. Some hands-on, so part of my role was also to go to teams and figure out what they're doing and where the quality coach could help there. And the least thing to do as a quality coach is to give advice, to give people options what to go for or what not to go for. But in the end, it's about coaching people to let them figure out what is the right path for them. There are these different stances to go from time to time, but the main idea is to try to make people speak out what their problems are and how to bring them forward, and you just engage with them. Sometimes you're just a wall for people to talk to. So, what I would like to go today is how I tried to coach the people that would become quality coaches through three different things. First is, what are these quality areas that you can look at? What are these quality engineering things and where you can apply them? The second thing is that how can you engage the whole team to do these activities? And the third thing is how to prepare yourself as a quality coach. What kind of mindset maybe changes you need to do in the long run? So one of the areas that many of us as testers can really look into is each step of the deployment pipeline. And it doesn't matter if you have a fully automated pipeline, taking code from the developer's terminal to production, or if you still have manual steps in the process. But there is also always something to do, even if you do manual things in between. There is always a process that takes code from somebody's laptops and puts it to production. And for each step, once you kind of map out the steps that you have, is to look into them. Why do we actually have these things? What's the purpose of having a step in place? Why do we have it there? Who does it serve? Is it important? To whom it is important? What happens? Who will shout the loudest if we take one step out? Let's say that you have some manager approving your deployment. If you say, we don't send that email out, let's see who will scream. Is it trustworthy? Can we repeat the same process again and again and still get a similar outcome? How long does it take? Again, it doesn't matter if it's a test suite that runs for 3 hours or sending an email and replying and waiting for a reply. Is it maintainable? So does it break? Is it easy to fix when it breaks? How often do we need to do this? Does any code change require this thing to happen again and again, or is it something we do every night? Can we build up on top of it. If it's a test automation, you need to write an extra test. Can anybody write that test, or do you need that special person that sits in the upper corner to write that extra test? Where does it depend? What are the dependencies? How is it automated or is it not automated? Is it something we could actually automate or part of it? And also alerting, who gets a notification if this thing doesn't happen? What are the cascading effects of this thing failing? All these things are part of the deployment pipeline. Again, doesn't matter if they're manual or automated, but these are things that we can look at from a quality perspective and improve our process. So one way is to look into each step, analyze its value, and see, can we improve it, or do we actually need it, and maybe get rid of it. Another way that you can look into the quality perspectives is to look at customer input. And customer input, customers give feedback depending on their mood. I mean, imagine if you're a customer trying to connect to your mobile provider and you cannot find the link where you can call, you have had the same issue for 25 times, you're going through different departments, you're a very unhappy customer. And the feedback you provide is based on that experience you had until the time you gave the feedback or how it was received. And it's different if you're a happy customer and you say, I went to a restaurant, the food was fantastic. The feedback we provide is quite different. If you're unhappy and you open a bug, let's say, for your software, as a quality coach, you can have a look at those issues and try to analyze them. Is this a bug that's actually missing? A feature that's actually missing? Or is it a functional bug? It might be perceived as a bug, but it's actually something we never implemented. All this kind of analysis is something that can improve the quality of the software. Also, when the customer gives feedback, also when the customer does not give feedback, just because they don't care enough to give feedback, but to try to analyze how people perceive your software on a baseline. What are the things they like? What are the things they don't like when they never actually complain about them? This is also something that can give you this baseline of what okay looks like. And then finally, when customers are happy, is what are they exactly happy about? Think that you released a new feature and you see that everybody's using it. Are they using it because it was easy to use? Are they using it because it solved the problem? Are they using it because it's fast enough to use? What are the things that make something a good feature versus a bad feature? All these things are quality aspects for your product that you can look into as a quality coach. And the third thing is to expose obstacles, again, within your development process. For example, if you would bring forward all the things that stop your work, not only as a quality person, but the whole team. For example, company policies. If people complain that, yeah, it takes me forever to fill in this form every time I do something. This is something that's blocking work. Lack of knowledge to say, yeah, I would be able to do this if I could go to a conference, if I could have a training. No access to customers. I mean, there are developers that say, I've never actually spoken to a person who is using our software, so I don't know what I'm building here for whom. Or external dependencies, which is kind of, yeah, that other team didn't do it well, they did not deliver. But all these things, at least are perception that things are blocking us from actually doing the work. And if we can bring them forward and we start discussing about them, then we can have the whole team discussing about them. And what I perceive that something blocked my work might also be blocking your work. But if we say, yeah, we all have this problem, why didn't we all sit down and see what we can do about it? That's also another aspect of trying to improve the quality, both of the process, but of the product you're actually delivering. And as a quality coach, when you go to the teams or you're coaching people, it's important also to share where you come up with such ideas. The things that they don't come usually from one's head as inspiration. You read stuff, you listen to stuff. So if you know these things and you know where to find such solutions, just share it with everyone. Maybe somebody gets another perspective of what you have read. So now we kind of know where we can affect quality, but how can we engage others to do it with us? One thing is that if you could actually pinpoint what are the tasks that you do, the quality tasks that you do in your day-to-day work. I know I did plenty of testing, but there were other things that were not in my job description that I was doing. I would sit with the PO and we would prioritize bugs, for example. I would sit through, when a new user story would come in, I would sit down and say, yeah, but have you considered this and this and this and this? These are tasks that were nowhere in my job description. But these are things that many of us did on our day-to-day basis. So if you could come up with all these things, writing documentation, support to customers, all these things are things that improve quality. If you could come up with a list of those things, then you can actually figure out what you do day to day, what does all the day go to. And then when you have such a list, which is easier to say than actually do, the other thing is discuss these things that you do with the rest of the team. And again, it's a bit repeating the same process. Why am I doing this task? What's the purpose of it? To whom is it important? Is it because I have this fear that if I don't do this task, the whole thing will collapse? Who am I doing it for? Is it for the team? Is it for the product owner? Is it for the company? What are the dependencies of this task? How do we share the knowledge? Is it something that only me as a dedicated quality person can do, or is it something that more people in the team can do? Why am I the one doing it? Can it be automated again? How much of it can be automated? And if it can be automated, can we engage the rest of the development team to actually automate some of the things we write by hand? And then try to document these things so that it doesn't get lost. If this is work that's actually being done, it's good to be actually being able to have this transparency that this is something we need, and why do we do it? And the last step of this is whenever you identify some quality tasks that are worth talking about, that are worth keep on doing, try to see if you can have two people being, let's say, the owner of these tasks. Try to share, but if you say we share with all of the team, chances are that maybe nobody does it, but at least know that these are the things 2 or 3 people are taking care of and how they can share. Also, by sharing a quality task, you can actually improve it. You have 2 people discussing, 2 or more people discussing about it. So it gets continuously improving rather than staying in somebody's head and saying, this needs to be done. And of course, this is a rinse and repeat cycle. Things change, people change, projects change. You can't say, yeah, we did the exercise once and now we're happy and we have everything. Whenever something comes up, a new thing that needs to be done, try to bring it back into the cycle. Who needs it? Why do we need it? Who can do it? Can we get rid of it? All these questions come into play again. And one last thing that I found out working with people that wanted to be quality coaches for their team is that they got the feedback, maybe from some developers, maybe from some POs, don't bother me with these things. I mean, what do we have you here for? Quality is your thing, leave me alone. And what we found is that saying, yeah, but we will improve the quality of the product, of the process. Sometimes this did not work. So one way to engage people is to show them, how does this help the developer in their day-to-day work have more time? Something that we tried out is saying, okay, I will stop doing this now. I will stop doing this testing for you. Have fun. And that said, oh, but I need this kind of testing. I said, okay, you need it. Let's try to do this together. How can we do it faster? So bringing them, not blackmailing them, but bringing them an aspect how sharing this can be better for them actually worked more efficiently than giving high causes like improving quality or stuff like this. Showing them how to do their day-to-day work easier, that actually worked better. And also showing some empathy, because this is asking people to do extra work that they're not used to. So going to them and saying, yeah, now we're a quality-driven team. Now you have to care about quality yourself. This doesn't work sometimes out of the door. So these two first bubbles were more about what can we actually do as quality coaches. The third one were things that I also had to think about and change the way I was doing things a bit. Was how do I prepare myself to let others in on this game of quality? So the first thing was to change a bit the mindset. Testing is about bringing information forward, and most times than not is showing the bad stuff. As a quality coach, it's going also a step further, not only to bring forward the bad stuff, but it's also how can we get rid of the bad stuff? One thing that I saw, for example, is we had one developer who would consistently not put UI labels in the translation files. He kept on forgetting. There was no way that he would stick to his head that I need to put the label in the UI in the translation file, or it will not be translated. He was human, that was his thing. He didn't do it to annoy me as a tester, he just did it. So instead of just having this repeated cycle, you forgot the labels, yeah, sure, I will put the labels in. What we tried as a team to do is write a parser to say, is there a label missing from the translation file that's in the UI? Yes, no, okay. Get your notification, put your translation label. So coming up with such ways to improve quality rather than having this repeated cycle that is done by humans is one of the ways that I needed to start thinking about. How can I have actions for the issues that I found? The other thing that was a bit hard for me was not to see myself as the safety net, as this last person who will stop bugs from going to production. And that was a bit harder because I had to come to terms with two things. One was that I would lose power. Being this last line of defense gives you a bit of a power. Yeah, I'm the one that pulls the cord, I hold the keys to this. But it's not about that. And the second thing I had to come to terms with is when somebody else in the team found the bug, that I didn't see this as a criticism for my work. Because I'm a bad tester, I missed that one. How could I miss this one? As a quality coach, the job is to make others comfortable, to pinpoint whatever is the problem, to make it safe for them to come forward and say, yeah, we need to improve on this. And rather see this as a criticism for our work, for what we do. And the third thing is to trust the team you work with. I had troubles doing that. I thought that if I would go away, they would just, yeah, everything will be not good, not in good quality. But we need to trust people that they will do a good job when they know how to do a good job. And that was the third realization had to see that, okay, maybe I'm not always right, and maybe they can do a good job as well. So after looking into these three things, we have this new class of quality coaches that want to influence beyond testing, want to distribute these quality efforts to the rest of the team, and are ready to involve others in this process. They are quality coaches for the team. So the next question that comes, once you have these quality coaches and once the team is involved in quality, do you still need these people in the team when things have reached, let's say, a maturity level? And the answer is probably yes, because not everyone is really not focused on quality, but doesn't have the time to do this kind of exploration and say, oh, this we could actually improve. They don't have this focus in their work to go about it. So the more the team maturity evolves, the least you need these people, but I don't think there's ever a point that you can actually go without having that person in the team. But of course it depends. And of course, there are always things that are changing and always things to look into. So what else can we do? How can we, beyond these three things, how can we prepare to have a more quality driven team? I found this change to be very interesting for me, both professionally, but on the way I thought, and I hope you give it a go. Thank you.
In craft-specific coaching, sharing your own ideas may be tempting. How do you prepare for a coaching session and refrain from it slipping into mentoring?
Ooh, good question. One thing that worked for me is actually paying attention to what people said. And when they were basically listing usually problems or challenges. And when it came to the point where I thought, oh, when I happened to have that, then I did this, I tried to stop myself, because that was very conscious, like, oh, I know this, I know what you need to do. So it's stopping yourself and trying with questions to bring them to come to that point. So if there was a question, oh, I have this problem, my developer doesn't want to fix bugs, although they send them back to me. And then you go, oh, have you tried to tell them to, have you tried engaging with them and see through? So it's basically turning what you have in your head into a question to the other person.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.